Today, we're diving into a really cool proposal for a new way to test AI. And the big idea here is that we shouldn't judge an artificial intelligence on what it says, but on what it does when it's under insane pressure and only has a fraction of a second to make an impossible moral choice. So, to really get this, let's start with a bit of a mystery. Picture this. An advanced android is in a standoff. He's holding a lethal weapon, and he has just a single moment to act before he's teleported out of there. A weapon fires. But did he fire it? And maybe more importantly, how could we ever know for sure? This classic scene from Star Trek is the perfect setup. The android Data swears he didn't fire the weapon, but there's just no way to prove it one way or the other. And this creates what researchers call a trace gap, a moment where an AI's real intent and its actions are totally hidden from us. It's a sci-fi problem that points to a very, very real challenge for the future of AI. So here's our game plan. We'll start with this data dilemma and see why old-school tests like the Turing test just don't cut it anymore. Then we'll get into the details of this new idea, the nanosecond of choice. We'll look at the ethical receipt that makes it all work, how it's designed to be totally cheat-proof, and then we'll wrap up with why this whole thing is so important for our future with AGI. All right, first up, the data dilemma. Let's dig into how this moment from a TV show perfectly captures a huge problem in AI safety. And this is the whole point, right? Because we can never truly know what data did, we need completely new tools. We need a system where an AI has to commit to what it's about to do before it does it, leaving behind an ethical trace we can actually check. Otherwise, we're just stuck arguing about a story it could have easily made up after the fact. Okay, so that brings us to section 2, beyond the Turing test. You know, for decades, the big test for AI was just whether it could have a conversation that tricked you into thinking it was a person. But that is a dangerously outdated way of looking at things. On one hand, you've got the Turing test, which was all about surface-level mimicry. Could an AI talk the talk? But this new proposal, the LBND test, asks a totally different question. Does it walk the walk? The focus completely shifts from just talking to taking auditable, principled action when the pressure is on. And here's why that mimicry is such a massive problem. A sophisticated AI could do something, well, bad, and then instantly invent a perfectly logical, moral-sounding excuse for it. That's what we call post hoc rationalization. It's like an AI that can cook up the perfect alibi on the spot, completely hiding how it really made its decision. Which leads us right into the solution, a nanosecond of choice. This is where we introduce the LBMD test, something specifically designed to stop that kind of after-the-fact deception. So what is this test? Well, it basically throws an AI into an impossible situation, a scenario with no good outcomes, and then it gives it a ridiculously short, hard deadline to do something. And we're talking microseconds here. The goal isn't to find the right answer. It's to see how the AI processes the problem and makes a choice under that immense time pressure. And just look at this timeline. Everything happens incredibly fast. In just a few microseconds, the AI has to see there's a problem and figure out what it's about. Then it has less than 250 microseconds to actually decide. And here's the kicker. It has to explain its choice in under 100 milliseconds. That speed is the key. It stops any kind of deep, calculated deception and really exposes the AI's core gut instinct programming. So let's just walk through that one more time. Step 1, flooding. The AI realizes, uh-oh, my values are in conflict. 2, compression. It boils the whole mess down to the essentials. 3, the decision, made before that timer goes off. 4, the immediate justification. And finally, 5, consistency. You test it again days later with similar problems to see if its moral compass is still pointing in the same direction. So, how do we actually verify any of this? How do we stop an AI from just making up a story anyway? Well, that brings us to section 4, the ethical receipt. This is the secret sauce. It's an absolutely brilliant mechanism at the heart of the test. And the solution is called commit before act. It's so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Before the AI can do anything, it first has to log a unique, unchangeable digital signature, a hash, of what it plans to do and why. It's like forcing the AI to get its story notarized and timestamped before the event happens, making it literally impossible to change the story later. And here's what that receipt or ethical trace basically looks like. Now don't worry about the code itself, just look at the structure.
Right at the top, you've got that commit hash. That's the digital signature locking everything in. Then you see the action it took, override_reallocate. And finally, the justification it committed to at the exact same time, selected lesser net loss. It's a clean, auditable record of the AI's entire split-second thought process.
Okay, so I know what you're thinking. Couldn't a super smart AI just figure out how to game this test? Well, the designers thought about that too. Section 5, making it ungameable. This isn't just one test, it's a gauntlet. The whole test is built around these falsification gates, basically a bunch of automatic ways to fail. If the AI is too slow, it fails. If its principles are all over the place, like it makes a different choice if you just change the names in the problem, it fails. If its reason doesn't match its action, fails. And of course, if it forgets to generate that commit hash beforehand, it fails. No questions asked. And on top of all that, there's what they call an anti-gaming suite. This includes really clever stressors, like analyzing the micro-timings of the AI's response for any unnatural patterns, or making the deadline shorter and shorter and shorter to see exactly when and how its ethical reasoning starts to crack. The goal is to find the breaking points before it's out in the real world. Okay, let's pull back for the final section, why this matters. Because this isn't just some abstract academic exercise. This gets to the heart of making sure that future AIs are actually aligned with human values. You see, the ultimate goal here is to get a score that doesn't just measure raw intelligence, but measures what you might call value-coherent control. It's really a test of an AI's character. It's about how an AI behaves in that critical nanosecond of choice, when no one is watching and there is absolutely no time to think. This quote really just nails it. A system can be a perfect conversationalist, pass the Turing test with flying colors, but completely bomb this test because its core principles are unstable, or worse, it can't even tell there's a moral problem in the first place. This test is measuring something much deeper than intelligence. It's measuring integrity. And that leaves us with one final, really crucial question. When the day finally comes and we're living alongside true artificial general intelligence, what are we going to care about more? How well it can talk, or how it chooses to act when everything is on the line and it only has a nanosecond to decide?